Hello, Los Angeles Lakers fan. We're back with an exclusive video bringing you the latest updates. First of all, subscribe to the channel and like the video. It's crucial for you to stay informed with the news daily. Without further ado, let's get to the news. The whispers around Los Angeles have been growing louder with every passing day, and the spotlight once again has turned toward the purple and gold franchise that never seems to escape drama. Jonathan Clay J.J. Redick, the sharpshooting guard who once made his name at Duke and then in the NBA as a lethal perimeter scorer, now finds himself on the hot seat as head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Reports from inside the locker room suggest that a number of players have begun voicing frustrations about his leadership style, his rotations, and his insistence on implementing schemes that, while modern and analytics-driven, don't necessarily fit the personnel at hand. The atmosphere is tense, with some veterans quietly signaling that the team may not fully buy into his system. For Redick, this is a new reality. He's no longer the respected veteran who simply offers commentary on a podcast or television show. He is now the figure of authority, the man expected to command stars and guide them through the chaos of an NBA season. And in Los Angeles, chaos is always lurking nearby, just waiting for the chance to burst through the headlines and dominate the discourse. Inside sources close to the situation claim that discontent has been brewing since the early weeks of the season, when Redick, eager to make a mark in his first major coaching role, began experimenting with unconventional lineups. Younger players were often thrust into high-pressure moments, while seasoned veterans watched from the bench, raising eyebrows and planting seeds of doubt. The Lakers, an organization that thrives on stability and tradition, suddenly looked unsettled, their rotations unpredictable and their chemistry fractured. For a franchise accustomed to a certain rhythm, this unpredictability felt disruptive. As losses piled up and performances dipped below expectations, murmurs within the locker room turned into full conversations. It said that players questioned not only the strategy, but also whether Redick possessed the necessary gravitas to steer a locker room filled with superstars, role players, and the never-ending pressure of Los Angeles media. This is not simply about X's and O's. It's about trust, belief, and whether the message being delivered is resonating with those who have to execute it on the floor. The story, however, is just beginning, and the rumblings from inside suggest much more than what appears on the surface. The idea of a coach losing the locker room is one of the most dreaded phrases in sports, and according to those familiar with the Lakers' inner workings, that very scenario may be unfolding. Players reportedly feel disconnected from Redick's communication style, which some describe as overly rigid, more fitting for a podcast breakdown than the high-intensity, ego-driven environment of an NBA roster. Redick, with his background as an intellectual of the game, has always prided himself on understanding nuances, but coaching is about more than analysis, it's about connection. Without genuine rapport, schemes can crumble, and buy-in becomes impossible. Several figures around the league have hinted that stars within the Lakers camp are privately expressing doubt about Redick's ability to adapt. In the modern NBA, where player empowerment is at its peak, that doubt can spread quickly, shaping narratives and influencing outcomes both on and off the court. The tension, while not yet visible to the public eye in explosive moments during games, lingers behind closed doors, simmering and waiting for its inevitable breakout. In Los Angeles, where patience is rarely a virtue, the breaking point may already be closer than Redick or the front office would like to admit. Some insiders point to Redick's lack of prior coaching experience as a root cause of the friction. While he was admired as a cerebral player, respected for his shooting prowess and work ethic, transitioning directly into a head coaching role without time as an assistant has left him vulnerable. The NBA is unforgiving, and even the brightest basketball minds need time to understand the subtleties of managing personalities, egos, and the grueling schedule that tests not just strategy, but human endurance. Veterans on the roster, accustomed to leaders with deeper resumes, are reportedly skeptical of his ability to steer them through adversity. Redick's defenders argue that every coach must begin somewhere, and his perspective as a recently retired player offers a refreshing modern lens. Yet, the critics counter by highlighting the Lakers' unique position. They don't have time for experiments, not with stars in their twilight years and championship windows that close quickly. In that sense, the marriage between Redick's inexperience and the Lakers' urgency was always bound to be complicated, and now it seems the cracks are widening. The whispers that began as quiet grumbles may soon transform into open demands. The most intriguing element of this unfolding drama is the question of who, exactly, is leading the pushback. Rumors swirl that a group of veterans, frustrated with reduced roles or misaligned expectations, are the loudest voices behind the scenes. Meanwhile, younger players, eager for more opportunity under Redick's adventurous rotations, may find themselves caught in the middle of a power struggle they didn't anticipate. The dynamic highlights a deeper issue: the Lakers' roster construction and how it intersects with coaching philosophy. It's one thing to have a plan on paper, but in practice, the weight of personalities, reputations, and histories can derail even the most meticulously designed strategies. Redick, though intelligent and composed, has never faced this kind of political storm, and the pressure of the Los Angeles spotlight amplifies every whisper, every rumor, every side glance from a disgruntled player. Those around the league are watching closely, wondering if the coach can weather the storm or if this experiment will end before it truly begins. After all, Los Angeles is not known for patience, and a coach's honeymoon period is shorter here than almost anywhere else. The potential fallout of these rumors is massive, not just for Redick's career, but for the Lakers' season as a whole. Should players continue to push for a change, management will face a critical decision: back the coach they appointed with confidence or bend to the will of their star players, whose influence often shapes the very direction of the franchise. The stakes are enormous. A coaching change mid-season can either revive a team or plunge it deeper into chaos. And in Los Angeles, the consequences are magnified by global attention. Redick's name, once synonymous with sharpshooting consistency, now risks becoming linked to a coaching tenure remembered for turbulence and division. Yet in sports, perception shifts quickly. A winning streak can silence critics just as swiftly as a losing skid ignites them. For now, though, the murmurs continue, growing louder by the day, casting a shadow over a franchise that has never been short on drama. The question lingers in the air: is this the beginning of the end for J.J. Redick in Los Angeles, or merely the growing pains of a new era still finding its footing? The second act of this saga feels even more delicate, as more details emerge from those with knowledge of the Lakers situation, and the picture becomes increasingly complicated. Some describe a divided locker room, where conversations about trust and leadership spill into private exchanges, and cliques begin to form based on loyalties and frustrations. Redick's attempts to assert authority, though genuine, reportedly come across as forced to certain veterans, who feel his lack of a coaching resume undermines his position. In professional sports, respect is currency, and while Redick possesses a sharp mind, it is the intangible connection that often makes or breaks a leader. Stories from practice suggest that his messages don't always land as intended, creating confusion instead of clarity. The result is a creeping doubt, and in a league as unforgiving as the NBA, doubt is a dangerous contagion. For the Lakers, a team always under the microscope, this narrative threatens to overshadow the season's ambitions. And as the days go by, whispers become the dominant storyline, the kind of tension that never stays hidden for long in a city where every movement is analyzed. As for the players' perspective, the dissatisfaction isn't uniform, which makes the situation all the more volatile. Some within the locker room reportedly appreciate Redick's modern approach, valuing his willingness to challenge conventions and think differently about spacing, pace, and ball movement. These players, often younger or less established, see opportunity in a coach who isn't bound by tradition. On the other side, veterans accustomed to more structured systems argue that his experiments lack cohesion, leading to lapses in defense and chemistry. They argue that success in the NBA requires more than bold ideas. It requires execution, discipline, and the wisdom of experience. The divide creates a complicated dynamic where not everyone is aligned, but enough skepticism exists to raise serious concerns. It is said that some stars, whose influence carries extraordinary weight, are leaning toward dissatisfaction. In the NBA, when stars speak, organizations listen. The potential clash between Redick's vision and his roster's expectations highlights the fragile balance that defines coaching at this level, and it raises the question of whether the Lakers' gamble was premature. Behind closed doors, conversations about Redick's future are reportedly ongoing within the Lakers' front office. The team is no stranger to high-profile coaching changes, and history suggests that management will act swiftly if pressure reaches a boiling point. Yet, there is a tension between loyalty to their choice and the practical reality of appeasing star players whose approval shapes not only the locker room, but also the fan base. The Lakers brass must weigh whether doubling down on Redick demonstrates faith and patience, or whether such loyalty risks alienating the very athletes who drive the franchise's success. In a city where championships are demanded, not requested, tolerance for experimentation runs thin. Redick may be intelligent, passionate, and determined, but those qualities must translate into results. Without wins, narratives form quickly, and once they take hold, they're difficult to shake. For the Lakers, the coming weeks could define the trajectory not only of the season, but also of the Redick era, however long or short it may last. Every game feels heavier now, as though each result is another vote in an unspoken referendum. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. Meanwhile, across the league, other teams and analysts are watching the Lakers situation with curiosity, if not outright fascination. Redick's appointment was seen as bold, if not risky, given his lack of coaching experience. For some, the current turmoil validates their skepticism, reinforcing the belief that coaching requires apprenticeship and gradual progression. For others, it is simply the predictable turbulence of a new coach finding his footing in one of the most unforgiving markets in sports. The question becomes whether Los Angeles, with its bright lights and endless scrutiny, is the right environment for a first-time head coach to grow. If Redick falters here, does it mark the end of his coaching aspirations, or will another franchise take a chance on him in the future? Every development is amplified, every rumor dissected, making this one of the most closely watched subplots of the NBA season. The Lakers, already accustomed to drama, have once again become the center of the storm, their struggles feeding the narrative machine that thrives on speculation and intrigue. For the players themselves, navigating this uncertainty adds yet another layer of pressure. It's one thing to focus on execution, strategy, and competition, but it's another to play under the cloud of constant rumors about leadership. Athletes are human, and the lack of clarity about the direction of the team inevitably impacts performance. Some may feel motivated to prove doubters wrong, while others may grow distracted, their focus split between basketball and politics. The Lakers stars, in particular, carry a burden heavier than most, as their voices are expected to shape the future of the franchise. If they ultimately push for change, the ripple effects could extend far beyond Redick's tenure, influencing how future coaches approach the challenge of leading this storied franchise. The locker room becomes not just a place of preparation, but also a stage where loyalties are tested and futures are decided. The tension builds, and with every new rumor, the pressure inside the building only intensifies, casting shadows over even the brightest moments. In the end, the unfolding story of J.J. Redick and the Los Angeles Lakers feels less like a straightforward coaching evaluation and more like a reflection of the modern NBA itself. This is a league where strategy and personality collide, where analytics meet tradition, and where the balance of power between coaches and players is constantly shifting. Redick may yet find a way to steady the ship, leaning on his intelligence and competitive drive to mend relationships and prove skeptics wrong. Or perhaps the tide is already too strong, the whispers too loud, the pressure too heavy for a first-time coach to withstand. Whatever the outcome, this saga will leave its mark on the Lakers, shaping not only this season, but also the perception of how the organization handles leadership. For fans, it becomes yet another chapter in the ongoing drama that defines this franchise, a reminder that in Los Angeles, the story is never just about basketball. It is about the spectacle, the intrigue, and the relentless pursuit of glory under the harshest of spotlights. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.